Visuals are essential in the world of work. No matter where you work, in a healthcare facility, government agency, retail business, bank, and so on, your employer will expect you to be visually competent. That means you'll have to interpret, use, and create visuals and graphics. Let's take a look at the purpose of visuals in communication. Visuals often explain the job you have to do and help you report on how well you did it. Tables, charts, graphs, drawings, diagrams, maps, and photographs are an important functional part of almost every workplace document, including employee handbooks, instructions, proposals, reports, blogs, newsletters, and websites. Visuals work in conjunction with your writing to summarize, inform, illustrate, and persuade. The tables, graphs, and charts that you use simplify financial data and other statistical information in a report, and the photos and other graphics you incorporate in them have a major impact on how readers will see and judge your work. In our digital culture, whether we're navigating a website, using a media device, collaborating with colleagues, or communicating with clients, visuals play a major role in conveying information. Animation, color, icons, graphs, illustrations, charts, photographs, and infographics all contribute to our understanding and evaluation. Visuals make documents informative, inviting, and easy to read. They are vital to the success of reports, proposals, instructions, presentations, websites, blogs, and many other documents. Even your company logo reveals a great deal about your firm's or organization's image and mission. Here are several reasons visuals can improve your work. Visuals condense and summarize a large quantity of information or text into a relatively small space. They can record data in far less space than it would take to describe those facts in words alone. Visuals can simplify and communicate concepts. A visual shows ideas while verbal descriptions only tells about them. Visuals help reader more clearly see and understand percentages, trends, comparisons, contrasts, and reduces the chances of a reader misunderstanding a concept. Visuals also arouse the reader's immediate interest. They catch the reader's eye quickly by setting important information apart and giving relief from having to wade through a page of monotonous text with only sentences and paragraphs. Visuals also have tremendous sales appeal, persuading readers to buy a product or service or accept your point of view. Visuals help readers find information quickly. They highlight, separate, or show relationships and data to emphasize points for readers so that they don't have to hunt through the text to find them. Visuals separate main points from supporting details. Visuals help readers remember information longer. Their impact reinforces a message and emphasizes what's most important for readers. Well-chosen and designed visuals can motivate your reader to understand and accept your ideas. Visuals are essential in the world of work. Presenting conflict information in a clear, concise, and captivating manner should be the goal of any business professional in their documents. Visuals can be divided into two broad categories, tables and figures. A table arranges information, numbers, and words in parallel columns and rows for easy comparison of data. Tables present large amounts of information or data in a compact space. They organize data, like figures and facts, in easy-to-read categories using rows and columns, giving statistical data or verbal descriptions clearly and concisely. Tables also allow readers to see comparisons and contrasts more quickly than when numbers are embedded. Line graphs actually show change. They're more dramatic than tables. You'll make the reader's job easier by using a graph rather than a table when it comes to analysis, interpretation, and understanding. A pie chart can be used to help readers understand how parts form a whole. You can use a vertical or horizontal bar chart to measure different data in space or time. This represents comparisons or changes through the comparative length of bars. This can be segmented or divided to show multiple percentages within a single bar. A flowchart reveals stages in an activity or process. Arrows provide accurate directions on the order in which the steps are to be taken. An organizational chart illustrates the relationship of one part of an organization to the other. It shows the structure of an organization from the chief executive to divisions and departments and employees. A pictograph represents statistical data by means of pictures in varying size, numbers, or color. They're easy for a global audience to understand if the symbols or icons, the pictograms, are chosen carefully. Information graphics or infographics are graphical visual representations of information, data, or knowledge intended to present information quickly and clearly. A photograph can be used to help a viewer see what's actually happening in reality. Well-designed visuals create an engaging experience for your audience, helping you achieve results. Visuals are essential in the world of work. That means that you'll have to interpret, use, and create visuals and graphics. Visuals often explain the job you have to do and help you report on how well you did it. Select your visuals carefully. Here are some suggestions that will guide you when choosing a great visual. Include visuals only when they're relevant for your purpose and audience. Never include a visual simply as a decoration or because it looks impressive. Each visual must have a definite function. A short report on fire drills, for example, does not need a picture of a fire station. Similarly, avoid a visual that's too technical for your readers or that includes more details than you need to show. Don't include more detail in your visual than your reader needs. Unnecessary details complicate and slow down any processes. Use visuals in conjunction with, not as a substitute for, written work. Visuals do not take place of written words. In fact, you may need to explain information contained in a visual. A set of illustrations or a group of tables alone may not satisfy readers looking for a summary or a recommendation. Visuals should not simply repeat what is in your text. If your text is clear and concise without a visual, don't include one. Size your visuals carefully. Do not try to cram a visual onto a page or allow it to spill over the text or margins. Also, do not resize an image so that it becomes hard to read or distorted. Consider how your visuals will look on the page. Visuals should add to the overall appearance of your work, not detract from it. Don't cram visuals onto a page or allow them to spill over your text or your margins. Many word processing programs help you move your visuals directly into your document so that you can insert them properly. Visuals are critical to the success of your written work. In fact, visuals work in conjunction with your writing to summarize, inform, illustrate, and persuade. The tables, graphs, and charts you use to simplify financial or other statistical information in a report, and the photos and other graphics you incorporate in them have a major impact on how readers will see and judge your work. You need to use visuals in conjunction with what you write. The following guidelines will help you identify, cite, insert, introduce, and interpret visuals for your readers. Identify your visuals. Give your visual a number and a caption or title that indicates the subject or explains what the visual illustrates. An unidentified visual is meaningless in your work. Tell your readers what you want them to look for by doing the following. Using a different typeface, like bold, or a different typeface size. Include keywords about the function and the subject of your visual in a caption. Make sure any terms you cite in a caption are consistent with the units of measurement and the scope, years, months, or seasons of your visual. Use arrows or lead lines to point to key parts of your visual and include labels to clearly identify important elements. Cite the source of your visuals. If you use a visual that's not your own work, give credit to your source, a newspaper, magazine, textbook, company, federal agency, individual, blog, social media site, or website. Insert your visuals appropriately. Since many of the images you will use will come from outside sources, especially the web, you have to incorporate them clearly and appropriately in places in your written work. Here are some guidelines to help you incorporate the visuals in the most appropriate places for your readers. Never insert a visual before a discussion of it. Readers will wonder why it's there. Do not insert a visual without a reference to it in the text, and do not refer to a visual in your text and then fail to include it. Mention in the text of your paper or report that you're including a visual, and place visuals as close as possible to the first mention of them in the text. Introduce your visuals. Refer to each visual by its number, and if necessary, mention the title as well. Interpret your visuals. Tell readers what to look for and why. Let them know what is most significant about the visual, and point out any distinctive features, major parts, or critical relationships. Do not expect the visual to explain itself. Inform readers what the numbers or images in your visuals mean and how they make or prove a key point. Tables contain parallel columns of rows of information organized and arranged into categories to show, in a compact space, changes in time, distance, cost, employment, or some other distinguishable or quantifiable variable. Tables also summarize material for easy recall, causes of wars, provisions of the law, or differences between a common cold, the flu, and pneumonia. Here are some guidelines for using tables. When you include a table in your work, follow these guidelines. Number the tables according to the order in which they're discussed, table 1, 2, and 3. Tables should be numbered separately from figures like charts, graphs, or photos in your text. Keep the table on the page where it's the most appropriate. It's hard for readers to follow a table spread across different pages. Give each table a concise and descriptive title to show exactly what's being represented or compared. Supply footnotes, often indicated by small raised letters like A or B, if something in the table needs to be qualified. List items in alphabetical, chronological, or other logical order. Arrange the data you want to compare vertically, not horizontally. It's easier to read down a column than across a series of rows. Place tables at the top, which is preferable, or the bottom of the page, and center them on the page rather than placing them up against the right or left margin. Don't use more than 5 or 6 columns. Tables wider than that are more difficult for readers to understand. When possible, round off numbers in your columns to the nearest whole number to assist readers in following and retaining information. Always credit the source, the supplier of statistical information on which your table is based. The physical layout and design of your business document is the reader's first impression of you. Make sure it's a good one. Any visual that is not a table is classified as a figure. Graphs transform numbers into pictures with shapes, patterns, and shading. They take statistical data presented in tables and put them into a rising or falling line or steep to gentle curves. Two main types of graphs are a simple line graph and multi-line graphs. Because graphs actually show change, they're more dramatic than tables. You'll make the reader's job easier by using a graph rather than a table. Here are some guidelines on creating great graphs. Use no more than 3 lines in a multi-line graph so readers can interpret the graph more easily. Label each line or color it to identify what it represents. In a multi-line graph, keep each line distinct by using different colors, dots or dashes or symbols. Make sure you plot enough points to show a reasonable and ethical range of data. Using only 3 or 4 points may distort your evidence. And keep the scale consistent and realistic. If you start with hours, don't switch to days or vice versa. Although charts and graphs may seem similar, there's a big difference between them. Graphs are usually more complex and plotted according to specific mathematical coordinates. Charts, however, do not display exact and complex mathematical data found in tables and graphs. Instead, they present the overall picture of how individual pieces of data from a graph or table relate to each other and parts of a whole. When should you use a bar chart rather than a table or a line graph? Your audience will help you decide. If you're asked to present statistics on costs for the company accountant, use a table. Because a bar chart is limited to a few columns, it cannot convey as much information as a table or a graph. However, if you're presenting the same information to a group of stockholders or to a diverse group of employees, a bar chart may be more relevant and persuasive. An organizational chart pictures the chain of command in a company or agency with lines of authority stretching down from the chief executive through managers and employees. A pictograph uses picture symbols called pictograms to represent differences in statistical data. Each symbol or icon stands for a specific number, quantity, or value. Here are some guidelines for creating great pictographs. Choose an appropriate symbol for the topic. such as a smartphone icon to represent the increase of the number of sales of iPhones. Always indicate the precise quantities involved by placing the numbers after the pictures or at the top of the visual. And increase the number of symbols rather than their sizes, because differences in size are often difficult to construct accurately and harder for readers to interpret. The maps you use on the job may range from highly sophisticated and detailed geographic tools to simple sketches. Photographs can provide many advantages. They can show what an object looks like, demonstrate how to perform a procedure, compare relative sizes and shapes of objects, and compare and contrast scenes or procedures. Drawings can show where an object is located or how a tool or machine is put together. An infographic combines a variety of visuals, for example, bar charts, graphs, icons, and photographs, with numerical data to give readers an easy-to-understand overview or timeline of a complex process. Infographics tell a story. Visuals are crucial to the success of your written work. In fact, visuals work in conjunction with your writing to summarize, inform, illustrate, and persuade. Ethical visuals convey and interpret statistical information and other types of data, products and equipment, locations, and even individuals without misrepresentation or misinterpretation. Ethical visuals should be accurate, honest, complete, appropriate, easy to read, clearly labeled, uncluttered, and consistent. Visuals do not always translate from one culture to another. While there are internationally recognized icons, visuals do not automatically transfer from one culture to another. Visuals and other graphic devices may have one meaning or use in the United States and a radically different one in other countries around the world. To avoid confusing or offending your international audience, consult a native speaker from your audience's country to see if your visuals are culturally acceptable. You also need to be respectful of your audience's culture and the context in which your visual will be included.